So how do you prepare for Miller v. Becerra? Let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think that California's assault weapons language violates the Second Amendment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to give a big shout out to one of the sponsors of the channel, and that is Got Your Six. For just $2.99 a month, you get access to a slew of amazing things on their application. They include things like up-to-date information on local, state, and national legislation, as well as they have the ability where you can create small groups for events and things like that. Also, one of the neat benefits they have is a button called Initiate Freedom, and it is essentially an Amber Alert for firearms owners. And what it does is it sends a notification to those friends in the group if your Second Amendment rights are ever violated through something like a red flag law. So it's a really cool app, and it's geared exclusively to firearms owners. So if you'd be interested in looking at that, I'll put links down the details section in the comment section to Got Your Six. So Miller v. Becerra is a highly anticipated case here in California. A lot of people are waiting for this case because it exclusively deals with California's assault weapons ban. And so I'm putting out this video because next week, Monday, October 19th, 2020 at 9:30, Judge Benitez will be hearing this case, and specifically will be hearing the motion for preliminary injunction. If he decides to rule in our favor and grant the motion for preliminary injunction, essentially what that does is it puts a halt on California's enforcement of its assault weapons ban language. And therefore, after that fact, a whole can of worms could be opened. Now, it's hard to anticipate and tell you guys what exactly Judge Benitez will rule, what will happen after the fact. I mean, we have to wait to see exactly what happens in this case. But a lot of you have been asking me, how can you prepare for a potential positive ruling if Judge Benitez rules in our favor once again, which if you read the kind of the tea leaves in this case where he's denied amicus briefs on the part of the state, and has also denied the state's motion to dismiss, and the way that he denied that motion to dismiss, and also the other cases that he's heard before. He has the name St. Benitez for a reason, because he gave us a favorable ruling in Rody v. Becerra, and he gave us a favorable ruling in Duncan v. Becerra. So we can anticipate that we're probably going to get something positive out of Judge Benitez. So the first thing I want to make clear in you getting prepared for a potential positive ruling, although the case is being heard this Monday, October 19, 2020, it does not mean that Judge Benitez is going to give a ruling that day or an order that day. It is very unlikely that he will issue an order this Monday. But a lot of people are worried that maybe since there's been so much time and so much lag in this case, we could get a fast ruling. And I'm not going to completely rule that out. And so a lot of people are worried and wanting to be prepared just in case. Because like we saw with Rody v. Becerra, the ammo day case, where we only had a single day to go out and purchase ammunition, or even Duncan v. Becerra, which was the original Freedom Week, where we only had a single week to go out and purchase large capacity magazines or standard capacity magazines, a lot of people are worried about being left out. So what I would say is one of the first things that you could do in preparation of a positive ruling in Miller v. Becerra would be to go out and purchase any like AR style rifle or any semi-automatic centerfire rifle that you may potentially want to configure in a way that we can't configure currently. Now, I'm not going to recommend that you guys go out and just spend all of your money or anything like that. I mean, you guys are adults, you can decide and do whatever you want. I would say you want those rifles or those lowers in your possession beforehand, because you don't want to be in that gray area or in the rush of trying to go and purchase those and go through the background check and all that process when we have a favorable ruling. You kind of already want those. So if you've been on the fence, you have the funds, I would recommend you do that sooner rather than later. And the reason why I'm also saying that is because the current status of where we're at in our society right now. When I put out a previous video on Miller v. Becerra, a lot of people were saying, oh, I'm just going to wait till we get a ruling to go out and purchase stuff. Back then, at the beginning of this year, that was more prudent to do because you could go out and purchase pretty much whatever you wanted. There was plenty of stocks. Right now, currently, there is not a whole lot on the shelves, not only just here in California, but nationwide. And this does not just extend to firearms, this extends to accessories as well. It's very hard to get like Magpul MOE stocks. It's very hard to get pistol grips, forward grips. It's just really hard to get your hands on anything right now because everybody's buying up everything because of what's going on with the society. And that could potentially get even worse down the road as we are now approaching the election cycle. And who knows what's going to happen after election. So it may be prudent for you to look at going out and purchasing those rifles or those lowers right now so that you have them in your possession and you're ready to configure. So this leads me into my next section. A lot of people are talking about well, what are the ramifications of a potential positive ruling, and can we configure our rifles? We don't really know how Benitez is going to rule, but we can anticipate maybe that if we got a positive ruling out of Benitez where he put a preliminary injunction on the application of like California Penal Code 30515, which deals with specific firearms being assault weapons in California, that would nullify that language that said if you have specific features on a rifle, it is considered an assault weapon. So it may be prudent right now to go out and purchase those items that you may want to put on a rifle and configure it in a way that we currently can't because it would make it an assault weapon. So I'll just give you as an example of me myself. I've already gone out and purchased multiple Magpul MOE stocks. I've gone out and purchased multiple forward vertical grips. I've gone and purchased multiple pistol grips, things like that. And you being in possession of those in itself is not illegal in California. It is only illegal for you to configure a rifle in a specific way, like putting those specific features that I just mentioned on a semi-automatic centerfire rifle with a detachable magazine. If I went ahead and did that preemptively, which I am not telling you to do, please do not do that because you will be violating California law. But I can have those now. I've purchased them. I don't have to worry about a rush on purchases. I have those in my possession now. And if we got a favorable ruling, I would potentially be within a specific order if we got it from Judge Benitez in configuring my rifle in a specific way. And there may be some sort of grandfathering like he did in Duncan v. Becerra with specific people configuring their rifles or even going out and purchasing rifles during that period. And again, with what's going on in our society right now, if something like that were to happen where we got a really beneficial ruling like that, where we could go out and purchase from online manufacturers or go on and go to our local gun stores and just purchase standard rifles the way that they're meant to be, the stocks right now of rifles and firearms are completely depleted. And I can only imagine what it's going to look like when we have a potential rush from California owners who have been anticipating this for a long time, don't know how long it's going to last. Like we saw with magazines, there could be millions of rifles purchased. And I would tell you that probably right now, there's just not enough supply to feed California if we got something like this. So I would say it's not your best bet to just wait for a favorable ruling and then just anticipate maybe you can go out and just purchase a standard rifle online or go to your local gun store and purchase a standard rifle. I would say there's probably going to be issues, not only as far as that would have to be a very beneficial ruling out of Judge Benitez, but also you would have to rely on there being supply there for you to go out and do that. Now, one thing I want to note real quick has to do with when I've talked about Miller v. Becerra in the past, and people saying, well, the AG's office is just going to do this, or Judge Benitez is just going to do this, similar to what they did in Rody v. Becerra or Duncan v. Becerra. It's hard to anticipate how exactly this specific case is going to unfold because it's very much unlike those other cases, similar in some ways, but very unsimilar in other ways, especially because this is much more of a hot topic than magazines or ammunition. We are talking about what California deems assault weapons, so they are probably going to be very aggressive in this. But that also could change how Judge Benitez handles this as well. A lot of people are saying, well, even if he gives us a favorable ruling, the AG's office is just going to seek an emergency stay like they did in Rody v. Becerra. I want to emphasize that the AG's office cannot seek a stay from the Ninth Circuit until they have already sought a stay from Judge Benitez and he has denied it or granted it. Procedurally, they can't go to the next level and seek a stay until they've already sought a stay at the level that they're at, which is from Judge Benitez. In Duncan v. Becerra, when the AG's office went to Judge Benitez for a stay, he granted the stay, but made it effective after a week. So that's what led to Freedom Week. In Rody v. Becerra, when the AG's office went to Judge Benitez seeking a stay, he outright denied it. And then that very day, the AG's office went to the Ninth Circuit and got an emergency stay. And that's what led to Ammo Day. It was only a single day that we got to go and purchase those ammunitions. So it is not something automatic that the AG's office can just go seek a stay from the next level from the Ninth Circuit. They're going to have to go through Judge Benitez first. And now Judge Benitez, seeing how Duncan v. Becerra unfolded and seeing also how Rody v. Becerra unfolded with the AG's office automatically getting an emergency stay from the Ninth Circuit, there's potential that maybe he would do something similar to what he did in Duncan v. Becerra, give a period of time for the effectiveness of a stay, give a period of time for people to clear the 10-day waiting periods, things like that, or giving people time who had configured their rifles, but also giving an exemption or a grandfathering of people who did it during that period of time. So as you can see, there's going to be nuance in this, and we don't know completely how this is going to unfold, but it is not an automatic that the AG's office is just going to get a stay from the Ninth Circuit. They still have to go through the process because that's how this works. So hopefully that answered a lot of you guys' questions. I've been getting this question asked a lot about how to prepare for Miller v. Becerra. And hopefully this gave you some insight in kind of how I'm thinking about this personally. And I just want to reiterate, this is not legal advice. I'm not recommending you do one thing or another. This is just kind of how I'm thinking about this. And when people are asking me maybe what they should do to prepare, this is just generally what I'm saying. Hey, this is how I'm considering it. This is maybe what I'm thinking about doing. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment down below and I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. Also, if you like this video and like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to join the Patreon page, and I'll put a link down below to the Patreon page. Also, another amazing supporter of the channel is USCCA. USCCA provides legal protection for law-abiding citizens like me and you. So if you ever find yourself in a defensive shooting or a self-defense situation, USCCA provides protection for you in those situations and specifically protects you if any legal ramifications happen after the fact. So if you'd be interested in that, you can find a link down in the details in the comment section as well. So as always, thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.